everybody. Welcome to the Otherz podcast. I am your host, Steve Penny. Joining me, as usual, back from his weekend away, earning all the money in Madrid. Rafa, how you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty good with not a lot of money, but a little bit more of money. Yeah, thanks
It's
for
better than
asking.
no
How about?
money.
Yeah, yeah, always.
So you were off in Madrid for the weekend, selling your
Yeah,
beautiful artwork.
yeah, exactly. I spent like 4 days in Madrid, and the weekend I work and Scrap World is the name of the event. It's like a sneaker con, like if in comparison, and it was pretty cool. And it was always pretty cool to go back in town because I used to live there. So yeah, so just to see some friends and party and whatnot. So it was cool.
I got to say, you seem to be turning up all over the place in Europe these days at different sneaker events. So, to people out there, if you're not able to order online or you want to buy something in person and you have some upcoming sneaker event in a city near you, then I'd say reach out to Rafa. He's all over Europe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Reach out. Like, my next event is going to be next month on Zurich. So yeah.
Nice.
So if when anyone from there like is listening, wants to reach out, like we can meet up in person and I can deliver in person my one of my prints. Yeah, 100%.
I guess like summer season is probably like the busiest time for kind of sneaker and streetwear events, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I always think like all these events they do like a little bit before of the summer, because of course, especially here in Europe, everybody just want to go to a beach or go travel somewhere, like just enjoy the summer. So when it comes like May and until the mid of June, there's a lot of events like that, and they come back to it after August. Like in September, they starting to do it all over again. So all over the Europe.
Okay, so sort of spring and autumn are sort of the best time. I guess yeah, like you say, yeah, most people are away and on holiday in the summer, especially here in Europe. And then no one wants a
Yeah,
sneaker event in the middle of winter because you're not going to want to wear your nice sneakers anywhere, are you?
yeah, exactly. And also like a lot of people like are spending a lot of money on gifts to their loved ones. So nobody wants to spend money on going to sneaker events.
Unless you want to gift your family member or partner a beautiful piece of sneaker related art. And then you should
Yes.
definitely go and you can buy lots of gifts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love that.
So yes, if you have an event coming up, get in touch with Rafa. He may grace you with his presence if it's financially worthwhile for him. But shameless plug over with. We are here to discuss some music and some news. So
Yeah.
obviously, big news in the last couple of weeks. We will get to that at the end. We'll try and contain ourselves. And for the track this week, we are going back to 2002. Originally, just a remix track that then got added onto an album after the fact. And it is Busta Rhymes' Pass the Courvoisier Part 2.
Yes. I said Buster. Awesome song, man. Love it.
Yes. Before we start, let's address the elephant in the room with this track. And it is the fact that it features a certain P. Diddy, who obviously at the time of recording this in April 2024 is going through some legal issues, should we say, in a polite way. He
Yeah,
is
yeah.
currently being investigated based on all sorts of, I don't know if he's actually been charged, but all sorts of allegations of inappropriate behavior, impropriety, and all these horrible things that most people would have probably read about. We're going to try not to like discuss that here, I think. Let's, let's leave that for another podcast once a charge has been put against him or he has a day in court, should we say. And I say this mainly just because I don't want this podcast getting taken down and getting sued by anybody. So
Yeah, smart move. Let's just shut up and talk about music.
yeah, let's keep quiet for the time being, at least. If they, find him not guilty or guilty at that point, then we can, say all the things we want to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm guessing from your reaction, you are a fan of this track. So let me quickly rattle through the usual facts and figures, and then we'll get into it. So the original Pastor Courvoisier, which is a different track to this one we're talking about, was originally on Busta's fifth album, Genesis. Now, due to the poor sales of that album, they decided to put in the Neptunes and do a remix of this track. I don't know if this was already perhaps something they had in the background that they'd sat on that didn't make the album, or whether they were specifically called in to do a remix of a track. But they did this, released it separately with a video. It turned out to be a massive success, and it then took the place of another song on the album when they did like reissues and repressings of the album. So the single itself came out on the 12th of February 2002. So again, another one that makes me feel horribly, horribly old.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And the single itself got to number 11 in the US. I would have thought it would have done better than that because it was a massive track at the time.
It was.
And it got to number 3 on the US Hot Rap Songs chart. It made number 16 in the UK, and I think it made top 10 or something in one of the Australian urban charts or something like that. This song was a smash, kind of came from out of nowhere because it wasn't on the album originally.
Yeah.
Busta does have history of doing this. He did this with the kind of Turn It Up, Fire It Up remix from, oh God, what album was that? When Disaster Strikes, maybe? I think that was off. He had, a version of the song, they did the remix, and then the remix became really popular, then they put the remix back onto the album afterwards. So it's obviously something that's worked before, when an album hasn't kind of quite sold as well as they thought it would sell. But this one really was kind of off the scale, I guess, because, Pastor Courvoisier, and when I say Pastor Courvoisier, I'm referring to, part 2, the one with the video. It is a smash hit that I think pretty much everybody knows. And it's one of those songs that, Pharrell still performs in his little medley of hits every time he does a live show.
Yeah, I remember I think it wasn't the first time that I heard the song, but I definitely got hooked on the song because of the N.E.R.D medleys that they used to do, and they still do. But I remember like that video that they are performing in Australia, I think. Oh, no, in Sydney. Like I think it's the N.E.R.D theater, and they did a medley with the best the Courvoisier, and then the Give It to Me of Jay-Z's, and then for a performance fronting. And I remember like seeing that video so many times, and I just wish it was longer because the medley with the best Courvoisier was so cool. And then I saw the video and I started to listen to Busta actually, like because I remember like just listening to Busta like in the background, always like, oh, that guy. I was listening to the singles, and that song like really introduced me to Busta and his music and albums, and I became a fan.
Yeah, man, I've always been a big Buster fan. I've seen him live a couple of times in London, I think. I'm pretty sure I've
Wow.
seen him do this song. But I've also, over the years seen Pharrell perform, his part in the hook, I don't know, 100 times or whatever. But
Yeah.
what I really like about this song is it holds a great memory for me because when I took my son to see N.E.R.D live and the day when we hung out with Pharrell and Shay and Chad, they did this as part of their medley. And this was the one where my son was, part of the chorus where it's don't this shit make you want to jump, jump. My son was jumping up and down and, really loved
Oh
it, really
man.
enjoyed it, there in front of the crowd and everything. So whenever I hear this, that's kind of what I think of. So while it might not be like the best
Wow.
song or track in the world, it holds it's got a special place in my heart.
Yeah, of course, man. Oh, I didn't know that, man. That's so cool. That's awesome.
And whenever it comes on, I always say to my son, "Oh, you remember when you heard this at the show?" And he's like, rolls his eyes. Yes, Dad. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, for me, yeah, he doesn't care anymore. He's a teenager. But for me, it's a nice, important memory that I have.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome.
In terms of the video, quickly, directed by Chris Robinson, who has done, I think hundreds of music videos over the years. He's worked with pretty much everybody. He's also done videos that we've talked about on here before. 30 million YouTube views. It's only been on YouTube for about 10 years or so. So I would have thought it would have racked up more views than that, but clearly not. And it does have like a weird video concept. It obviously takes from three different movies, and it's
Yes.
inspired by them a little bit. So I think the first one, I'm guessing, is Coyote Ugly, because you've got like all the girls dancing on the bar and stuff. You've then got the old Eddie Murphy film Harlem Nights, and then we've got a very, very weird Rush Hour 2 type segment at the end, where quite
Yeah.
clearly Pharrell was busy for that day of filming, and
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx decided to turn up.
exactly. But I mean, they also like call it Monique and Ice-T. There's all those cameos. So I I I think the same thing as you. Like I think Pharrell was just busy, but maybe it was just the concept of the video also. Like just put those actors in there because he's inspired by other movies.
What I did find watching it back again today was, especially that last part where Pharrell isn't in it, they're obviously doing all those kind of kung fu type moves and fights. And I sort of sat there watching it and I was like, could I see Pharrell doing this, like doing some kind of kung fu fighting stuff? And I don't know, I kind of think he looked at the treatment on the page and was like, yeah, no, I'm busy that day, thank you. Sorry, I can't make it. And kind of dipped
Yeah,
out.
but you have to remember he got some karate like kick moves on that movie. Like, dude, we're going to real. Remember when he
God,
got
not that
attacked?
again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I watched that movie more than I would like to.
You watch it more than anyone should. Oh mate,
No, but it's in Brazil. That's like it's really bad, but it's in Brazil, bro. So come on. So when he
I
got
can
attacked
find you
on,
some, no, hold on. I can find you some better videos and better movies from Brazil, and I'm not even from Brazil, that you could watch and reminisce about home. You don't need to watch, dude. We're going
come
to
on,
fucking
man.
Rio.
So okay, what I was saying like when he got tagged on the favelas and a guy tried to rob him and he got like just he just jumped on the guy and started to kicking the guy. I'm like, man, Pharrell got no business doing those kung fu or karate moves on that guy. Like it looks like the movie was already awful. When on that part, you're like, oh man, I quit. This movie is 100%
Yeah,
garbage. But I think I watched it like 4 times.
Jesus, four times too many. Well, three times too many. Let's say. Yeah, that's
I
fans.
think like if you finish the movie, it's already too many. Like if you are able to finish that movie.
But yeah, I sort of think watching the music video, I can't see him sitting there doing some of the moves that you know Diddy was doing and then dancing, like they were all doing in a little line together. I think Jamie Foxx kind of comes in and plays that part very well, let's say,
Yes.
fills the gap. I really don't see sort of Pharrell doing that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I always think about how was the energy in the studio where when they were filming that video, man. It looks so good, like so fun to watch. It's one of those videos, and it's a long video, right? Like it's 6.5 minutes,
Yeah, so it's
and
six
but
and a
it's
half
so cool to
minutes.
see.
Yeah, but the first minute is taken up by another song from the album with Ra Digger,
That is
Better
also
Stay Up in Your
very
House,
good.
which is actually a very good song, yeah. And that was a very early 2000s type thing where you would mix in another song from the album just for a
Yeah.
30-second or 1 minute to kind of promote it at the start or at the end, which I kind of miss actually. I'd like to see more of that in music videos. Go on.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say like I think the last artist that I saw doing that was Tyler. Like I remember like in 2000, I think until 2015, like Tyler the Creator was still doing that, but he already stopped. So yeah, I also kind of miss those type of things.
Yeah, like I said, I'd like to see it more if you've got like a track from an album that you know isn't going to get released as a single, but you still think it's a really strong track, just to be able to
Yeah,
kind of showcase it for 30 seconds or 60 seconds and have a completely different video treatment for it and let it kind of shine itself. I think that really helps, especially nowadays when people don't buy albums.
yeah, exactly.
To kind of pull people into actually listening to the whole album, showcase a little bit of the other work. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it starts like that. It cuts to a very awkward transition of Busta Rhymes and Rah Digger with chainsaws cutting through a wall. And as the wall kind of falls down, there's quite clearly a green screen, and it kind of has the video starting off in the kind of bar scene there. One thing I did read today, kind of just looking through notes for the video and stuff, was that during the kind of filming of that, Rah Digger actually dropped that chainsaw onto her foot and thought that she'd cut her toes off.
Oh, what the hell?
Now, obviously, the chainsaw
Really?
wasn't on for any of it, not working
Yeah, yeah.
chainsaws, but they're big chainsaws and they are quite heavy. And if you drop that with a pointy bit facing down, ouch.
Man, that is insane. Hope she's well.
Yeah, I think it's she. I read a quote from her saying like she genuinely thought she had cut her toes off or something. So I can imagine it was quite painful, but she
Yeah.
obviously lived. She lived to tell the tale, so I'm sure she's fine. But yes, once we get through that kind of quite poor green screen transition, we end up in a would we say midwestern type bar scene with lots of women dressed in very early 2000s fashion. It looks
Yes.
really dated in terms of the outfits they're wearing and stuff. The kind of boot cut jeans and the kind of low cut waists and the tops and the weird little belts that go around that aren't actually holding anything up and stuff like that. It's a strange time in fashion then.
Yeah. But not Busta though. Like Busta always look ahead or like if you look like Busta how he dressed today, like it looks dated but looks ahead also, you know?
Yeah, so he's wearing like, is it like almost like an all denim type thing? So a denim
Yeah,
jacket,
with some
denim
animal
jeans,
prints.
and then some fur and stuff on it and things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So again, I think it ties into that kind of Midwestern theme, cowboy type theme, while not really going the whole way. But it worked. Buster
yeah,
looks
yeah.
all right. Yeah, Mr. T makes a cameo appearance for some unknown reason. Again, he just bursts through a wall holding a bottle of Courvoisier.
Yeah,
I guess he was just in the area on the day. There's Mr.
yeah.
T coming to the video. Who knows?
Or maybe because of the song and the video uh showcase such a energetic vibe, maybe just to show like if you drink Courvoisier, like you can like bust a wall or something. You know, you can get like Mr. T maybe.
Maybe I do remember sort of back in the early 2000s, like Mr. T was. I was going to say having a resurgence. That's a weird way of putting it, but he was like in the media more again.
Oh
Now I
yeah.
don't know why. I guess tax bills to pay and all that kind of thing. And he was appearing in like random TV shows. I remember like in the UK, he was appearing on chat shows quite regularly and stuff in like morning TV shows. Just really weird
Yeah.
stuff you wouldn't expect him to be doing. So I guess at that time they said, his agent maybe heard that they wanted somebody in a video and put his name forward, and off he goes.
Yeah, cool. Why not?
Well, yeah, if you're going to get paid for it, and I imagine you get to take home some of that lovely, lovely Courvoisier.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
and
say
I
I say that I don't even like Courvoisier, but
yeah, and no, and I was reading that not even Busta like Courvoisier that much. Like he prefer Hennessy, but it fits to the song.
yeah. So he kind of publicly stated, I think quite a while after, he let it lie
Yeah,
for a
yeah, yeah.
while to obviously milk it, for all he could. But yeah, he's kind of stated he's more of a Hennessy drinker. But I did see, Courvoisier, they never had like an official deal in place, but they would sponsor some of his shows after that. They used to sponsor like his after parties and give him all the booze he wanted and sponsor
Yeah,
events
of
that he would be
course.
involved in and stuff. So I think it helped. It helped both of them. And I did see, Courvoisier themselves, they had a 20% sales increase after that song came out as well. So,
Yeah, of course.
free advertising.
And in a pretty cool one advertisement.
I was looking for some stories and stuff around some of this, and I saw their old kind of brand manager from back then was talking about, how this kind of came about, how it happened and stuff. And I saw some stories that a couple of years before this, Courvoisier had actually tried to do a kind of marketing campaign where they were aiming themselves at kind of young black people and kind of people into hip hop and stuff like that, and it just failed
Mm.
basically. They weren't authentic in any kind of way. They were just seen as like a lot of the drinks that similar drinks to that back then, just seen as drinks that middle-aged white people drink after dinner basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this song then coming out a couple of years later really helped them.
Yeah. In for free. That's awesome. For
Yeah,
them.
exactly. But I have to say, like, even back in the day, I was, Hennessy is my favorite drink. Oh, a glass of Hennessy any day of the week, amazing. But even back then, I remember like hearing this song and going, "Oh, okay, well, I don't think I've ever really drank Courvoisier much, so I'll start trying to drink that." Obviously, had an impression on my simple little mind as well. And even back then, I was starting to try Courvoisier, but no, not a fan. Hennessy
No,
is just so much smoother.
yeah, I never tried Courvoisier. And the first time that I tried Henny, I hated it. But man, what the hell is it strong? Like you saying is mover, but when I tried it, man, this thing is strong. But I think the second time, like it was a little bit better. And I think the last time that I had it, like it was like 2 months ago, before a while, like before a lot of time without drinking it, and I felt it how strong can be after a lot of time without drinking it. But it's a good drink. Yeah, it's a good drink.
I'll admit what I did yesterday. I had some good news yesterday, so I came home and I thought I've not really got any alcohol in the house, but I want a drink to kind of celebrate this news. I was here by
Nice.
myself, so just drinking by myself, lovely. But on my way home, I thought, no, I'm going to treat myself to a burger or something for my dinner. I'm home alone. I'm celebrating. Get myself a nice burger for dinner. Got myself a Coke as well. And I came home. I had a few mouthfuls of the Coke, put some extra ice in the big McDonald's cup, and then just filled it up with Hennessy, basically. So I was just drinking Hennessy and Coke from a McDonald's cup.
Nice. That's classy.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. Exactly. I think that's the lowest of the low, but had to be done.
Yeah. Nice.
What else did we have? Oh yeah. So going back to the video,
Yeah, yeah.
we have the first sort of few scenes where we've got that sort of Midwestern bar thing going on. I don't know why. No idea. Pharrell, for whatever reason, is underneath a pool table on top of a woman.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool.
Like, it was cool then. Like, looking at it now, it's a bit
Yeah,
cringe.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
looking
think
at
he
it now,
gave
it's like,
a
would you
younger.
make a video like that now? Would you, with him doing this, like, again, like, of its time?
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, but I think I can see like I don't know why a teen artist trying to redo that just because just to pay homage maybe because I think it's a key thing to do like go under the table to hook up with a girl like hiding and stuff.
I was going to say, like, I think that those scenes are based on the movie Coyote Ugly. I've never seen that movie, never want to in my life. Is there something in the movie where somebody does that? That's all I'm thinking of. Is it a reference
It
to
is
something in
not.
the movie? Oh, okay. I knew
It
you'd
is
have bloody
not.
seen it. I can imagine you probably watched it last week as well.
Damn, man. No, but I think the last time I watched it was last year, but
Oh,
like
last year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
No,
bad enough.
no, Juliana loved that movie.
Oh yeah, blame her. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She made
No,
me
I don't
watch
think.
it. She made me.
No, I will correct myself. I don't think she loves it. Like loves is a strong word for that movie. But I think she really likes it. And I think we were talking about the movie, and she was like, "Oh, let's put it on." And I mean, it's a cool movie, like just to, just to easy the day. And but it is not like there's no reference to that movie
Okay.
about Pharrell under the table with a girl. No.
Okay. So at some point, someone just said, "Yeah, it'll be cool if let's get the girl to lay on the floor, and then you just lay on top of her and sing your
Yeah,
parts." Well done.
yeah. But you have to think about like the 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 part of Pharrell under the table might seem not that cool, but the transition when they are singing, standing up, and when they go down and film Pharrell under the table is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's very well shot. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was actually like kind of shocked because I didn't remember like how good that video was. Like I remember just being fun, but if you pay attention to the shots, it's pretty cool.
A lot of it is very well
Like
shot, yeah, because it's
yeah, yeah,
based around. I was going to say iconic movies. Coyote Ugly is not an iconic movie, but let's say
yeah.
a
It
popular
is.
movie, an iconic movie, and then another kind of one that's in the middle there somewhere. But yeah, it is well shot. They've obviously, there was obviously a big production budget involved in this because there's
Yeah,
a lot
100%.
going on. They've got three whole different, sets that they use. So you've got to think it's at least 3 or 4 days filming as well. So there was a lot of money pumped into this. So you would think and hope that the shots are going to be quite good, and they generally are. And especially
Yeah, it is.
also you got to remember at the end when they're doing all the kung fu stuff and things like that. There's no really long ongoing shots, but obviously all of that has to have been choreographed by somebody. Then you've got
Oh,
to have had like
100%.
rehearsals, and then obviously the extras are getting like thrown all over the place, and so they've got to have wires and things like that. So
Yeah.
there really is kind of a lot that's gone into it.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Like, and I think like it makes sense that they did that type of video like in 2002 because big budget movies was all over the place. Like
Yeah,
I don't think like Matrix is like they didn't they wasn't inspired by Matrix, but just to think about like all the special effects that they use on this video, just you have just to think about, man, there was a lot of money on this video.
I can fully imagine that. Off the back of like Rush Hour 2, which was a massive success, probably bigger than the first Rush Hour. They
Yeah.
probably said, okay, we want like a Rush Hour inspired music video. But then it's like, well, can we fill 5.5 minutes with just Rush Hour type stuff? It's a bit limited. Okay, well, let's think of a couple more popular movies at the time. So Coyote Ugly for whatever fucking reason. And then someone has said Harlem Nights because Harlem Nights is obviously a classic movie, and it's
Yeah.
obviously a very specific scene that it's based on from that as well. So I'm assuming that's kind of what's happened. They've kind of said like, movies are big budget, they're full of fun at the moment. Let's kind of do our music video like it, and what are the ones we can pick to kind of incorporate in? And while they're all very different, they all kind of work to a certain extent. It is a weird experience
Yeah.
watching it, especially if you don't know what the movie references are. But it does all kind of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. Like and if you think about it, like when they pause in the middle of the video just to have the like a sketch, like a comedy
Yeah, a
sketch
little
with
skit.
Monique,
Yeah,
and it's pretty funny, and it go back to the music like it's like it's like I don't know, it's like smelling coffee when you're trying perfume, like oh you have
hmm
a pause and you go to another one, so it's pretty cool.
yeah. I did find when I was watching it back today, I did chuck at that bit as well. So After it goes from the Coyote Ugly Midwestern thing, it goes to a kind of 1920s, 30s ish alley scene based on a certain scene in Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy. And like you say, Monique is in it as well. And yeah, just when it pauses and they do that little skit, Buster's actually quite a good actor. I've seen him do like
It
different
is.
things in different music videos, and he is like quite good at stuff like that. And he's just, he threatens to stamp on her toe, and he does it. He's like, "I'll do it again. I'll do it again." And Diddy's like, "Go on, do it
Yeah,
again."
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like two little naughty kids, and then the woman in the back's like, "Oh, right on the corn." It's like, "Oh
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Like Pharrell saying, "Damn," making
yeah."
faces, trying to act. It was pretty. It was like a little bit funny that just to see Diddy, uh, influencing Busta, committing violence against women. Like, oh man, that was more fun. That was funnier back in the day. Like if you see it now, like, oh shit.
It's not funny anymore.
Exactly.
If only we knew now what we knew then. It was
Yeah,
foreshadowing. We should have, yeah. Somebody should have called him out then for it.
yeah,
Yeah, so we go from that scene onto the Rush Hour 2 type scene where they are in a Asian style massage parlor type place with lots of attractive young women. Those young women then get removed, and some bad guys come in, and a big fight ensues where Buster, Diddy, and Jamie use their kung fu magic to defeat the bad guys and throw them through walls and up into the ceiling and all sorts of stuff. And then have a little dance at the end, which was nice, just to
yeah.
celebrate.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. And I really like the second part because, especially the ending, because when every time that I heard that song, is always the edit version. So it's always cool to remember like Pharrell background vocals is all over the track, but when it gets to the end, you get to hear just his background vocals. So it's pretty cool.
I realised that today when I went on to Apple Music just to kind of listen through to the track, and I played the explicit version, and I just thought I can't remember the last time I actually heard the explicit
Exactly.
version. It's always the edited version that seems to get played everywhere. Even the video is like the edited version, and I had a quick look and I couldn't find like an official explicit version one. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah,
surprised me.
yeah, and also in the clubs, like every time that I heard that song in the club, it's always the clean version.
Yeah, it's probably the
Yeah,
same here, to be honest. Yeah. If anyone out there knows why, please tell us.
yeah,
And just what you mentioned, yeah, one thing I did like when I was listening to it, especially at the end, yeah, those kind of Pharrell ad libs and background vocals. You can at the end of the track, kind of, it's like he's singing along, kind of in a studio somewhere, way away from the mic, and it's just picking him up. And I don't know if it's intentional or not, but it sounds really good and it fits really well into the song.
yeah, exactly. I just want to be alive when the mainstream hip hop fans or the mainstream hip hop artists started to recognize how good Pharrell's ad libs and background vocals are. Like Pharrell ad libs is insanely good. So cool. And I think he's underrated.
I think pretty much in like all of my notes that I have for like most songs and most videos, there's always a note that says about a certain Pharrell ad lib or sound that he's making, or I don't know. To me, it really does make a song. Even just those like little like haze and stuff like that that he just puts in there sometimes. It really makes a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like one thing that I always think about how much of a fan I am. Like I remember when the Neptunes put out the what is the name of the song? The Rolling Stones song that they did a remix for it.
Sympathy for the devil, yeah.
Yeah, that one. So I remember like they put out a video and everything. So I always remember when Pharrell has some ad libs on it and just like the classic ad libs, like Pharrell ad libs, like ho. And
Yeah.
I always think about like, oh man, that's awesome. Like just the little ad lib, like you always so cool to me. And I remember like when we were at the Star Trek forum, I think we were discussing that song, and I was like, oh, those ad libs are so cool, man. And everybody's starting to call me a dick writer. Like, oh, shut up, man. It's just pretty cool. And every time that I think about Pharrell ad libs and how awesome they are, I always remember like people bullying me online because I
Oh
love
no.
them. Yeah, man.
But it's fine. Now you're here on a podcast. You can talk about your love for them all you want. Nobody will
Yes,
bully you.
let's appreciate it.
But no, I agree with you. Yes, in songs like that, and in a lot of songs, they really add to the song.
Yeah, I remember like Camila Cabello when they worked together in 2015 or 2016. I don't remember when that song actually came out, but I remember she gave an interview and she talks about Pharrell Atlas. Oh, finally, I hear some mainstream artists talking about this because it had to be talked, you know, has to be said.
I think I've had this conversation with somebody. I don't remember who, but just just a random, probably very drunken conversation. But if I won an obscene amount of money on, let's say, the lottery, and I thought, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get Pharrell to produce a song for me, just for me. If I went into the studio and he was like, okay, like, what do you want it to be? Like, give me some notes. The only notes I would give him would be, put some Pharrell ad libs in there, please. I've got to have a ho and
Yeah,
a hey, you know,
yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah,
got to have a
yeah.
couple of those in there, and oh man, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Like,
rest could be
remember that
trash,
video?
but
Yeah, exactly. But that would be enough to be awesome for you, right?
yeah.
Yeah, like that video, like the studio footage that Pharrell is working with the what is the name of those guys? It's a group.
The
Um,
overdose one, yeah,
yes,
I love that
and
video just because of those parts where it's just constantly looping those little vocal snippets of his, like the haze, and yeah, it's brilliant.
yeah, and you can see the over those guys like they are appreciating the fact that he are doing the ad lib like they are fans like us. It's pretty
I would
cool.
say I don't have sounds on my phone, but that song is my ringtone when my sound is turned on, and I think that's one of the most underappreciated
Oh yes,
Pharrell tracks out there. I love it.
is a scene like that. That should have been a huge hit.
Yeah,
So cool, so. Oh man, it's a scene.
we will perhaps discuss it one day on the podcast. I have spoken to at least one person from Overdose that said they would come on the podcast. And
Nice.
then when we tried to arrange it, it kind of just didn't happen. But yeah, people out there, if you would like somebody from the group to come on the podcast and we talk about, the work they did together, then please feel free to harass them on Instagram and remind
Yeah,
them that I did once send them a message about it and they did agree.
yeah. That would be awesome, man.
I've got one other thing I wanted to mention about this track, and that was the link that I sent you earlier, which I found utterly hilarious. And I will put the link in the show notes. And
Yeah.
this is a live version of this song that they performed on Jay Leno's show. What was Jay Leno's show? The late night show? I don't
Yeah,
remember. I
I
don't
think
remember all
so.
the different ones. Let's just say the Jay Leno show. Americans know what I mean. And I found it weird at the start of the video where he says, and performing past Courvoisier, part two, it's Busta Rhymes and P. Diddy. And the camera goes across, and you got Pharrell stood there as well. I'm like, no, well, maybe, Pharrell is credited on the song. Maybe they just didn't put it on the auto cue, or maybe he wasn't meant to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And they perform the song, and it finishes. It's obviously at the end of the show. And Jay Leno walks over and he goes, oh, it's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Busta Rhymes. Thank you, P. Diddy. Just completely blanks Pharrell. Even then, shakes everyone's hand, walks right up to Pharrell, and Pharrell's looking at him as if like about to shake hands and just blanks him. And it's like, that's
Exactly.
really weird and really awkward. I don't know
Yeah, man.
if there was some kind of early 2000s beef going on between Pharrell and Jay Leno, but it was just very funny to watch. Pharrell was just a bit like, huh?
Yeah. It's And Pharrell reacted pretty cool in front of the camera
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was live. So yeah, you almost don't notice.
No, and then Pharrell kind of slips off around the back, and then Spliff
Yeah.
Star jumps into his place next to Jay Leno, and Jay Leno turns to him and goes, "Oh, great performance," and shakes his hand. So I don't know if that was on purpose or whether he's now just confusing two black men. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. It can be.
But yes, it was a good live performance, and I just found it very funny that for whatever reason, Pharrell was just completely blanked, and he'd already been on the Jay Leno show previous to this, I think, with N.E.R.D,
Oh,
and he's been on there lots of
yeah,
times
yeah,
after as well with other people. So yeah, it was just a weird interaction that I found quite funny.
yeah, it is. And it's also performance. Like I connect with that song more with the live performance than the song, like the studio song. Because I also remember they performed that song on 2002, the VMAs 2000, yeah, 2002, I think. Because I think it was like they were like celebrating Diddy, like all his hits back in the day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Controversial, but yeah. So and they finish with that song, and it is a also performs like super energetic, balloons all over the place, everybody's jumping. It was pretty cool.
Well, what's funny that Jay Leno one, the tempo is slightly slowed down, I think, and it's stripped
Oh
back.
yeah,
Like some of the drums aren't in there, so it actually sounds quite a minimal performance. I thought the focus was more on the vocals in that
yeah, yeah,
performance,
yeah,
but it's still a really good performance of it.
yeah. It is, and the band like did an awesome job.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was just thinking about it, like Pharrell performing at the VMAs on that year, but in the same year, Britney performed "Slave for You" for the first time, I think, and also Justin, right? Like I think Justin performed "Like a Love" on that same year.
It would have been around that time, so yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, so just that VMA itself, like it was a huge moment for the Neptunes in Pharrell.
Yeah. Have we got anything else that we want to go through with this one?
Yeah, I don't know. I just had a note in here. I just want to acknowledge like how good Spy Mob was because every time that I think about this song, I always think about the footage, like the live performance, the N.E.R.D classic medley, and how Spy Mob like did live versions of those incredible hip hop songs that Pharrell and Chad produced. And I was like, man, Spy Mob is so good at this. Like, I think if you when I mean I don't know a lot of bands just to compare it, but when I think about Spy Mob, I always think about like they when it comes to making live versions of songs, like especially hip hop songs, I always think about like they are the wide version of the Roots, because the Roots are like the best band out there
Yeah.
making live versions of songs, and Spy Mob like always came through with awesome instrumentation and live performance.
Yeah,
So yeah,
definitely.
just
Because yeah, putting those like big hip hop songs into a live performance is it's a skill in itself to be able to do that and kind of transfer them over. So yeah, as we know with Spy Mob, they took In Search of instrumentalized that. Is that I don't even know if that's a word. I made that up, I think.
yeah,
And obviously, then heavily involved in doing that in live performances and stuff in the sort of early 2000s as well. So it's yeah, credit to all those guys. They all had a brilliant ear for music and obviously understood what it took to take what is essentially like a club track, like past
yeah,
Courvoisier is made to be played on the radio and in clubs and bars, and to be able to kind of
exactly.
turn that into a really good sounding live track on a big stage as well is yeah, definitely a skill.
Yeah, exactly. And I was watching that same live performance today, and how synchronized they are with Pharrell. Like just getting the clues, like for when Pharrell's like give clues about like, oh, let's finish this up, or let's continue the same song over and over. Like, man, like they were so good, like together, you know?
Yeah, they were
Love
very
it.
tight, very very tight as a band, and with Pharrell and Shay and Chad as well. When Chad was touring occasionally, yeah, very tight. They obviously early 2000s they were touring constantly, doing loads of shows.
Yeah,
So obviously they get to work on it regularly. But again, yeah, you've got to, as a musician, I think, have that skill and that understanding as well of the people that you're performing with to be able to do that successfully and pull it off.
yeah, exactly.
I think
I agree
the greatest
100%.
I've ever seen is I saw James Brown live just before he died in
Wow.
London. I want to say it was Brixton Academy, so not a massive venue. And I was right at the front row, right by the stage. And I spent most of the show, yeah, just watching his little looks and his little tells. And, he'd point his finger somewhere sometimes, and people in the band knew what that meant. They knew that he wanted a drum to hit at that point, or a horn to come in, or something to stop, or whatever it might be. And he had so many little movements and things like that, and the band were just so tight. It was they could just stop and start like that in an instant and
Yeah.
just all be in sync. It was, yeah, crazy to watch.
Wow. Insane. Yeah.
All right, should we move on to some news?
Let's go.
All right, we'll leave the big news for the end. An update on what we talked about last time. Not really an update, but some additional context. I think the ongoing Neptunes legal case. I won't go into all the details again. You can go back and listen to me rant about it for 20 minutes last time. I did reach out to some people involved in the case. I won't name any names here. To kind of ask, what's going on? Is this actually serious? Like, hoping, it all gets sorted out. I was told it's actually more serious and worse than it actually looks, and worse than it seems,
Yeah.
which is not a good sign. Again, I still hope it is a fundamental misunderstanding. I hope it's all sorted amicably between them. But it doesn't look great at the moment when, yeah, someone that's involved in it told me it was actually a lot worse than it looks from the outside.
That's a shame, man.
Very much so. But we won't speculate too much. I'll just put that out there as an update, and let's see how things progress. And then maybe I can get an update from that person again in the future, and let's see if things are being resolved in some way. I think I forgot to mention it on the last show, but a couple of weeks back, or 2.5 weeks back now, Pharrell was at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. He seems to have a thing about going to Grand Prix. He seems quite into Formula One. I think most years he turns up at one or two of them. He's normally invited
Yeah.
by one of the car manufacturers. I think over the years it's normally been Mercedes that have invited him because he's quite tight with Lewis Hamilton. I think this time he was there with
True.
Ferrari, I want to say. Maybe the time before that as well. And he was wearing his Richard Mille Ferrari watch as well, I think.
Yeah.
He did a performance and stormed off after 15 minutes in a bad mood. So if you're in Saudi Arabia to see him perform, you fucked it up and unlucky because he was not happy.
Damn.
So for
I
those that
haven't
didn't,
seen that.
no, I didn't realize he was performing there. It's only after the fact that I kind of heard about this. And supposedly he was doing a very sort of small show for fans that were there over that weekend, and all of the fans had been given these bracelets that lit up
Okay.
in some kind of way. They were like these little gadgets you could wear on your wrist, but people started throwing them onto the stage. I guess just to kind of light the stage up. It looks cool. It looked interesting.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Pharrell recognised, or somebody in his ear told him, yeah, there's lots of small bracelets on the stage and you're surrounded by dancers. Please, can you ask people to stop throwing things on the stage? Because somebody's going to end
Yeah.
up killing themselves at some point soon. So, yeah, he politely asked the audience to stop throwing things on stage because there were other people on stage and women there that might kind of fall over. To which the crowd completely ignored him and continued throwing things off stage. So
Oh.
he just said, yeah, thank you, everybody. That's it. I'm done. And walks off after
Wow.
15 minutes. So, yeah, he was not happy.
Boom, boom, psh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Literally no pun intended because I didn't even
Yeah.
think of that. I've noticed that, the kind of older he gets, or I guess the older any artist gets,
Exactly.
the less they want to fuck about and deal with stupid audiences. Like
Yeah.
I think we saw it at the last Something in the Water as well. The crowd weren't really up for it. I don't think the sound was very good. And he cut his set short by like 3 or 4 songs and just kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
walked off basically. So it happens.
Yeah. It can be. But I mean, Pharrell like has been doing that for a long time now. Not walking off on stage, but when something is not working good, like his live performance is always like just went down. Like he always get pissed off, and you can notice
Yeah.
he doesn't make like any effort to show he's
To
not
hide it,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's like no, I'm pissed off. Like I let you know.
Yeah. A couple other bits of news. Pharrell's been confirmed to be working on the Despicable Me 4 soundtrack. Is listed as both a performer and a songwriter. So we will hopefully get some more Pharrell songs of him specifically, but also other stuff that he's involved in terms of the soundtrack. And he also has a new movie coming out, a new musical movie. I hate musicals, so there's no way I'm going to watch this. With Michael Gondry, who is a famous film director, they have just signed on Halle Bailey
Oh,
to
nice.
be in this. So the blurb is, I'll read it out so that I don't kind of misdescribe it. Bailey will co-star opposite Kelvin Harrison Jackson and join newly minted Oscar winner Divine Joy Randolph in this coming-of-age musical set in Virginia Beach in the summer of 1977, inspired by Atlantis Apartments, Pharrell Williams' childhood neighborhood.
Oh, nice. Finally.
Yeah, some of it will be kind of loosely based on his childhood and what it was like kind of growing up there, but a very good cast that they seem to be putting together. It's being produced through I Am Other with his longtime kind of business partner and collaborator there, Mimi Valdez.
Cool.
So I'm kind of looking forward to it, but like I say, I don't like musicals, so we'll see if I ever watch this one.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, like musicals are hard. Like I think I just like two musicals that I watched that is Chicago and the Dreamgirls with Beyonce. But after that, all the musicals that I tried to watch like all sucked. I mean, can we consider Michael's movie musical like Moonwalker?
Ooh,
No,
good
right?
question.
Because
No, because they
yeah,
were
yeah.
songs that are from an album that they then fit into a movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the structure of the music is not there, right? Like how they
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. Whereas with a musical, like the songs are part of the actual story, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
moving.
yeah,
They're progressing the story along. They're telling you something about what's happening,
yeah, yeah,
and they're normally obviously written for the movie or for the show specifically. Whereas, yeah, with something like Moonwalker, it's like, yeah, all the tracks already existed, and it was just like, Michael wants to make a fucking robot movie. What are we meant to do here? Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean the Magic. What is the name? The Wizard of Oz with Michael is pretty good.
I guess not a bad shout.
Yeah, yeah,
Diana
yeah,
Ross,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. That one.
Yeah, it's produced by Quincy Jones, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, no, that one is also pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot that one. Oh, in La La Land. Like, haven't you watched La La Land?
I have watched it. Again,
And you,
as a movie, yes, I can see why it won Oscars. I just don't like musicals, so it just wasn't for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Not a
No,
bad
no, but
movie, just not for me.
yeah, no, I get it. Like musicals are these type of movies that I don't try to defend it because it can be hard. Like it's pretty weird. All of a sudden, someone like start to sing in your face. Like, what are you doing? You're crazy.
And I've got a lot of friends that are very into musicals and very into like theatre shows that are musicals, and they go to loads of them. And I'm always told like, but Steve, you love movies, you love TV, you're even more obsessed about music. Surely it's the perfect combination. It's like, no, I find it cringeworthy and cheesy, and I know it's meant to be. I know a lot of musical theatre is meant to be a bit cheesy and a bit camp. I think is the word I would use. Is probably not the right word to use nowadays. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but it's kind of meant to be a bit like that, a bit sort of tongue in cheek. But it just isn't for me. I cringe at it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it can be hard.
But speaking of music, kind of, we have a new Pharrell album.
Yes. Oh, out
Oh
of
my
nowhere.
word. Out of literally nowhere on his 51st birthday, which was about 2 weeks ago. So happy birthday for a couple of weeks ago, Pharrell.
Yes.
He dropped a new album not under his name, but under the name Virginia, with an album called Black Yacht Rock, Volume 1, City of Limitless Access. A nice snappy title, which I love.
Yes.
Jesus. He dropped it on a standalone website with no links to any streaming services, and it's not on any streaming services yet, I don't think, where you could just download MP3s, basically, and go
Yes.
old school.
Yeah.
And it was fucking brilliant.
It was. Like when I first heard it, I was like, man, this sounds like Undone. And after 3 hours, I was already crying. But man, those vocals are marvelous. Pharrell is back at it again with his angel vocals. But man, this is so cool. That's so awesome. Also the lyrics, like, and I think the thing that got me the most was the lyrics. I think Pharrell lyrics evolved a lot on this album. I was not ready.
Yeah. And I would just say we won't deep dive into it today
Yeah, yeah,
because in an upcoming podcast, we will have a special guest, hopefully, to talk about the album.
yeah,
Let's just say someone that works on the album will come and talk to us all about it. That's been agreed. So we've just got to plan it all out now. But yes, initial thoughts. I thought it was excellent. Like you say, it's for me. It's like it seems like the next evolution of Pharrell and the music he wants to make, the way he writes, the way he wants to write. It's just like the next step on
yeah,
from where he's been previously. I thought it was excellent. Lots of parts of it reminded me somewhat of the Girl album. There are certain vocal things in there, certain bits of writing, even certain sounds. Because obviously it's a very guitar heavy album.
yeah,
Remind me of some of the girl stuff, but on a another level to that basically. And I've been thoroughly enjoying listening to it. I have to say, really impressed with it. Really like it. I'm intrigued as to why it just dropped on a website and it's not on streaming and there's been no promotion for it or anything else. I have reached out to ask a few people to sort of see what's happening there, and if I get an answer, then maybe we can talk about that on the next show when we actually discuss the album in a bit more detail. But yeah, very, very pleasantly surprised with this one.
yeah. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty like it was pretty funny to me, like but how the music grown on me when I was listening. Like at the same day, like when I first heard it, I was like, man, this sucks. Like this is watered down music. And at the end of the day, I was like, man, this is one of the greatest music Pharrell ever put out. And man, how could I? And how could Pharrell do that to me? It was pretty good evolution.
It's just expectations, isn't it? I think
Yeah,
we think of in our heads we think of Pharrell as producing certain kind of music. So if you think, oh, there's a new Pharrell project, you probably think it's going to be more up tempo hip hop type stuff.
yeah,
But this is very different from that. And I think once you get over those initial expectations that you had, because I was the same, I listened to it and I didn't think it was bad at all. It just wasn't what I would expect from a surprise
yeah,
album. But
exactly.
once I actually listened to it a few times and actually listened to the music, the lyrics, the content, I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is really, really good.
It is. It is awesome. And when I first heard it, no, but after a few listening, I was like, I was already thinking about, oh, this really sounds like a soundtrack.
Yeah, that's what
Not
I've been
just the
saying as well.
lyrics,
Yeah,
but the instrumentation, the orchestra behind it, like the inspiration. You can clearly like hear it.
yeah. That's I think that's what I said to a few people as well. It sounds very soundtracky. To me, that comes across in the way it's written. It's like it's telling a story, and that story would be would work in a linear way with a movie, with a film throughout that. And to me, it's kind of because he's done it under the name of Virginia.
Yeah.
And when I listen to the album, it's kind of like he's telling Virginia's story.
Mm-hmm.
He's speaking for Virginia,
Yes.
and it comes across that way to me at least. I need to listen to it more and go through all the lyrics, in a bit more detail and stuff. But yeah, man, top work.
Yeah. Exactly. I would love to see like he performing this live, just to see what the live band would do with that. Like, whoa, must be awesome.
I think that album in like a really small venue with a live band, yeah, would be really good.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, let's leave our thoughts there for the time being. Over
Yes,
the next couple of
please.
weeks, our homework is to listen to the album about 100 more times and take lots of notes. And then hopefully in 2 weeks' time, we will be back to deep dive through every song basically.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. Can't wait.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it up there for now, I guess, unless you had any other news or topics you wanted to talk about.
I don't think so. Like, I wanted to talk about like the Tyler the Creator Coachella set. Like, his
Oh yes,
performance was
I've
pretty.
seen clips.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw a fan video of the entire thing. Man, it was pretty good. Like I would say, like just I think it's not fair to say is one of the best Tyler the Creator like live performance ever because what I saw it was just a iPhone video, from a fan, but it was pretty good, like awesome.
From what I saw and what I read, most people there said it was like the highlight of the weekend. They said it was a brilliant set. But then just in terms of like set design and the whole production of it, it looks like he has spent literally millions. It looked
Yeah,
ridiculous from the little clips that I saw here and there. So yes, I at some point I want to actually go and watch that in full. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere by now because Coachella is all streamed on YouTube anyway, live.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm sure somebody has ripped it or it's out there somewhere. If I manage to find a copy of it before I put this podcast out, I will put a link in the show notes as well.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'll try and do it for the next show.
yeah. Yeah. And maybe we can talk about it like in the next show, but it was pretty cool. Like the way he got on stage, like just like the trailer that he's into, like explodes, and he got off like of it, like he was like flying off it. I was like, man, this guy is insane, man, and
I
it's
saw him
pretty.
finishing by like he had like a wire harness on. He was like walking at 90 degrees up a mountain face or something.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
okay, yeah, while still rapping as well.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, there's our second bit of homework. We need to dig that out and give that a watch as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I know our potential guest for the next show is a fan of Tyler as well, so we could have some good stuff to talk about there.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, let's wrap it up for this week then. Thank you as always, Rafa. Where can the good people find you and all of your stuff online?
Yeah, people can find me on Instagram at Rafito underline Cirque, and that's my personal account, and my professional account where you can find my sneaker illustrations is at Sneak Cartel, and you're gonna see a lot of sneakers and streetwear influence arts in there. And if you want something like just reach out, send me a message, and when I give it to you. So yeah,
Nice. You can find me online everywhere at Steve R. Penny. You can find all the links and the show notes and all those kinds of things, both in your podcast player of choice, but also over on the website at theothers.net. We'll wrap it up for there, and
that's
hopefully
cool,
back
man.
in a couple of weeks for a deep dive into the new album. So we will speak to you then, everybody. Bye bye.
Nice. Bye bye.